Imagine you're 20 years old, finally moving into your own place.
It's not much, just a small studio, but it's yours. The rent is suspiciously cheap, the building is ancient, and it has that distinct smell of dust and forgotten memories. That's where our story begins with Elias.
He is unpacking his life in boxes when he stumbles upon something left behind, a vintage baby monitor, the kind with the big plastic antenna. It's plugged into a wall outlet that looks like it hasn't worked in decades.
He tugs at the plug, but it's stuck fast, like it's become part of the wall itself.
He shrugs it off. Just another quirk of his new, cheap home.
Night falls. The city outside hums a distant lullaby, but inside the apartment, the silence is heavy.
Elias is asleep, but not for long. At precisely 3 a.m., a sound slices through the quiet. A crackle, then a hiss, coming from the old baby monitor.
The dead outlet, the one that shouldn't have any power, is somehow making this thing work.
Elias sits up, groggy and confused.
He listens.
It's static at first, but then he hears something else, something familiar.
The creak of his own bed springs, the soft rustle of his sheets, a quiet sigh.
It's him.
The monitor is broadcasting audio from his exact location. He checks his phone, looks around the room. Nothing.
It must be a glitch, a weird echo.
Then he hears his own voice from the speaker, a faint whisper. It's just interference. This building is ancient. He freezes.
A few seconds later, feeling a chill run down his spine, he finds himself whispering the exact same words.
The monitor isn't echoing him. It's predicting him by about 30 seconds. The next day, Elias can't shake the feeling of dread.
He decides to test it. He stands in front of the monitor, takes a deep breath, and waits.
A moment later, he hears a cough from the small speaker, clear as day.
30 seconds pass, and an involuntary tickle in his throat makes him cough.
The exact same sound. He tries it again.
He claps his hands.
The monitor announces the sound before he even brings his palms together.
This isn't just interference. It's a window into his immediate future. It's terrifying, but also
strangely fascinating.
He spends the afternoon playing with it. A morbid game of Simon says with time itself.
But the game is about to change. That evening, as he's making a sandwich, he hears the familiar sound of his own footsteps on the monitor speaker.
But then, there's another sound.
A second set of footsteps. Heavier, slow, dragging.
They're coming from right behind his future self.
Elias's blood runs cold.
He whips around, his heart pounding in his chest.
There's no one there. The apartment is empty. He stares at the blank wall, the empty space behind him, but the monitor insists. The footsteps are there, in the future, getting closer. He's standing perfectly still, but on the monitor, he can hear his future self starting to panic, his breath quickening.
The other footsteps are almost on top of him.
And then, a sound erupts from the speaker that shatters the silence.
A scream, his own scream.
A raw, guttural cry of pure terror.
Elias clutches his chest, stumbling back.
He looks at his watch. He has 30 seconds.
30 seconds until whatever is causing that scream happens to him. His eyes dart around the room.
The window, the door, the closet. What is it? What's coming for him? The footsteps on the monitor are gone, replaced by the sound of frantic scratching, like fingernails on wood.
And his own terrified whimpers. 20 seconds left. He's trapped in a race against a future he can hear but can't see. He backs away from the wall with the outlet, his eyes wide with fear. 10 seconds.
The scratching on the monitor gets louder, more desperate.
It sounds like it's coming from inside the walls. 5 seconds.
He braces himself, his body tense, waiting for the impact, waiting for the reason to scream.
3, 2, 1.
The clock ticks past the 30-second mark. Silence. Nothing happens. The scream never comes. Elias stands there, breathing heavily, drenched in a cold sweat. The apartment is quiet again. The monitor is quiet too.
He cautiously approaches it.
The static has stopped. The unsettling 30-second lag is gone.
For a moment, he feels a wave of relief.
Maybe it was all in his head, a stress-induced hallucination.
But then, a new sound drifts from the speaker.
It's faint, distorted, like an old radio broadcast from a bygone era. It's a woman's voice, sobbing.
Then, a man's voice, harsh and angry.
Then, the sound of hammering. And a woman screaming.
A different scream this time, not his.
It's a muffled, desperate plea, filled with a century of pain. Elias realizes the monitor is no longer broadcasting the future.
It has jumped back in time. He's listening to something that happened in this very room, 100 years ago.
The screams, the hammering. He understands.
A past tenant.
Boarded up.
Alive.
Inside the wall.
The same wall where the monitor is plugged in.
The interference wasn't a glitch. The future scream wasn't a warning about an attacker. It was an invitation, a bridge across time. As this horrifying realization dawns on him, he notices something by the outlet. The faded, floral wallpaper is starting to peel.
A long, dark crack appears in the plaster beneath.
And from the darkness within the wall, something is pushing its way out.
The pale, slender fingers of a hand reaching
for him. The monitor lets out one final, deafening blast of static, and the screen goes dark. What Elias found wasn't just an old piece of electronics.
It was a listening device, yes, but it was also a tombstone, and some voices refuse to be silenced by time or by walls.
They just wait for someone to plug in and listen. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the unknown.
Stay safe out there.